Hey Gladiators, welcome to Lesson 3 of Unit 1A, where we're going to talk about types of democracies. So in our last lesson, we talked about the citizen participation and the different levels of citizen participation that exist throughout the world. Today, we're going to talk more in depth about specifically democracies. The goals for this lesson are for you to be able to compare the different types of democratic leadership and to be able to contrast the differences between different types of democracies. We have been going through and looking at these 3 different ways to categorize governments, and so this lesson is on democratic leadership. The first type of democracy that you need to know about is called a direct democracy. And in a direct democracy, individuals decide on policy initiatives directly. That means everybody gets to choose, everybody gets to vote on everything. That means every law, every rule, every change, every constitutional amendment, whatever it is, everybody would get a say. So think about this. Who would vote for a law in a direct democracy? Well, if we look at our definition, in a direct democracy, everybody votes on policy initiatives. All individuals get to vote on everything. So in a direct democracy, who would get to vote for a law? Well, everybody, all the people, all of the citizens would get to vote in a direct democracy on every single law. Our next type of democracy is a representative democracy. And in a representative democracy, the people vote for representatives. We call those people who vote constituents. So the people that representatives actually represent are called constituents. So in a representative democracy, constituents vote for representatives to make decisions for them. So instead of all of us having to know and vote for every single law, we vote for representatives to then go and do that work for us so that we can go along with the rest of our lives. So think about this. Who all would vote for a law in a representative democracy? So in a direct democracy, everybody would vote on it, right? But in a representative democracy, the only people who would vote on a law are the representatives themselves, the people that we vote for. At the bottom of your notes, you're going to notice a spot for you to write the term republic. You only need to write this highlighted portion here. A republic is a government where only eligible citizens get to vote for representatives. We are actually a republic. You have to be an eligible citizen in order to vote. You right now are not eligible unless you are 18. You are not eligible to vote because you have to be 18 to vote in the United States. A couple of terms that you need to know. First is the legislature, and this is the group of people that actually makes the laws. We call our legislature the Congress. So these are the people that we vote for to make our laws. The other term that you need to know is chief executive, and this is the head of the executive branch. Our chief executive is called the president. These terms are going to be really important so that you can understand the next couple of types of democracies. Our next type of democracy is a parliamentary democracy. A parliamentary democracy is referring to how their chief executive is chosen. In a parliamentary democracy, the people, the constituents, get to vote for the legislature or the Congress, or the parliament or whatever we call them. So the people get to choose the legislature, but then the legislature gets to choose the chief executive. So the representatives themselves would choose a chief executive from among themselves. Typically in this kind of a government, the chief executive is called a prime minister. So the people get to vote for the legislature, who then gets to pick the chief executive or the prime minister. Our last term is a presidential democracy. And in a presidential democracy, constituents choose both the legislature and the chief executive. So instead of the legislature getting to choose the chief executive, in a presidential democracy, the people get to choose the chief executive. The United States is a presidential democracy because we get to vote for members of Congress and we get to vote for the president. At this point, you should be able to compare the different types of democratic leadership and be able to contrast the differences between different types of democracies. If there's anything you missed in your notes, go back in the video now and rewatch it. And if you've got any questions, please come and ask.